we can talk. So why you're here? What do you want to learn? Important question. Creativity.
Fostering innovation and creativity.
Fostering, yeah.
Fostering protection of intellectual property. That is correct.
Yeah. True. What is creativity?
It's coming up with something new, innovative.
What is different between innovation and creativity?
And
ये तो आप इम्तिहान लेना यार.
I think I just want to engage the formal session तो अभी शुरू होगा जब अमीना साहब आएंगी. बजाय इसके कि हमारी शक्लें देखें और बताएं कि मेरी टाई टेढ़ी बंधी हुई है. Let's talk, which is always there.
Distracting.
Always. किसी एक आदमी ने बहुत बड़ी मूछें रख रखी थी, whiskers. तो किसी ने पूछा, are you wearing these whiskers just to attract and get attention? He said no, just to divert my attention because my presentation is so poor. I want people to be involved in my mustache. जी आप कुछ कह रही थी.
I think that creativity. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Meher. I think the difference between creativity and innovation is that creativity comes from is one's own invention, an idea or an object, and innovation is based on an existing idea, and you develop on that.
I think you're right up to some extent. Basically, creativity is the capability. It is a talent, natural talent, or it's a skill. You can learn how to be creative. There are several methods. You can read books of Edward de Bono, who has written more than 70 books on creativity alone and lateral thinking. There are different ways how to become creative. So it is a talent and or a skill. While innovation is the result of that creativity, which is a slight improvement in something which is already existent. And invention is something entirely new, which does not exist in this world before. That's an invention. Amina Sahaba, Tashrif la chuki hain. Now the mic is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin our session titled Fostering Innovation and Creativity Through Protection of Intellectual Property. Please switch off your mobile phones or put them on silent mode. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the discussion. We would appreciate if complete silence is observed while the session is in progress. Our moderator for this session is Syed Nusrat Ali. He is an international management consultant and motivational speaker. He has been head of training and development at a renowned pharmaceutical company. He has also been a member of the teaching faculty at the Institute of Business Administration and is presently with City Institute of Image Management as a senior consultant and trainer.
Sabka ho gaya?
Sir, you're supposed to
You
introduce
have
the
to introduce
speakers.
the panelist.
It's all over? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic, as you know, is fostering innovation and creativity and all other things through protection of intellectual property. I think this is a grave problem all over the world and especially in Pakistan. Basically, intellectual property is the right, whatever your mind produces, whether it's a piece of art or it's a novel, it's a painting, it's a product, and if you want it to be legalized, then internationally we have formed certain laws how to protect that. And if any writer or creator thinks that it is well protected, it enhances his productivity and innovation. And for that we have assembled here in this under one roof. Basically there are three types of rights Number one is patent, where inventions are secured. For example, I was in GSK, I was head of training and development, 24 years. It was all of the time we were in courts because of fake drugs. For example, Calpol, which is paracetamol, and it comes with different names, slightly different pictures. So pharmaceutical, we have patent right. At around 20 years, we can manufacture under that name, and then it can become a generic, or people can come up with that molecule with a different name. But for 20 years, nobody is allowed to produce that. For example, Losec and Ryzac. Losec is omeprazole. It was initiated by one company. Then after that, when 20 years passed, other organizations started producing it. Then registration of designs. Then trademark, where logos and names of the products are registered. And then copyright, of course, where your novels, your writing things are copied or reproduced without your permission. So for that we have assembled here. I will start with Babar Sahab to please open the session with your rich experience, that what has happened in the field and what are the various solutions.
Well, thank you. Actually, I would talk about the IPR from the perspective of the consumer and from the perspective of individuals, because Amina, I think, could talk about more from the copyright protection, and Ahmed Nasir is very well versed on from the corporate side, the counterfeiting and other issues. So I would talk about, because there is a general perception when something is pirated, so it's like people think it's a kind of a Robin Hood thing, that big companies, or they publish something and somebody has pirated the book and then they reproduce it. And there are a lot of books in Pakistan which are pirated. Even I have seen translations of lots of books which are done without the permission of the writers and the publishers. And when I go to Lahore particularly, and you go to those markets where the books are available, you are shocked at how badly it is done, because even that translation, is like leaving lots of chapters in between and then putting them together in the name of the same. That is a translation of such and such books. Karen Armstrong, The History of God, was printed as a small, as a very thin book, although it's a very, big book. So these kind of things which have been happening. Basically, from this Robin Hood perspective, what is being said is that the books which are published or other products which are being counterfeited or copied, or when the patents are violated or trademarks are violated, this is for the good of the people. That's how they sell it. But if you go through, at times the cost of the book is not the same, and people are being hoodwinked. If somebody has another book or something, they can sell it at any price. But if you have same book, you just copy it, and these days the scanners have made the life much more easier, and you reproduce it, then obviously it is something which is going to hurt not only the consumer, because consumer gets the low quality thing, it hurts the writer, it hurts the publisher, and as a result you have seen that many writers are not giving their royalty because their rights are being violated. I remember we did a seminar in Lahore and invited Salima Hashmi, what does she think about this thing? And she said that Faiz Saab is being sung by Pakistan television every day, and nobody pays a 1 rupee royalty to that. And Noorjahan is singing that, and she's not paid any royalty. So that's how you see the people's right. And if you look at it, whether it's Faiz Saab or whether any big writer, Ahmad Farhad, they always needed some way to work on on a salary or somewhere to have the alternate means of earning, rather than such big writers should have made a lot of money out of their own books. And in the same way, the singers complain about that in Pakistan, if they launch an album, overnight they are copied. So you see what has happened. So much of Mehdi Hasan is being heard in our homes and everywhere. And Mehdi Hasan had to beg for his, the medical treatment. So that is not something that people don't realize that how it is affecting. Somebody yesterday told me that, well, it is good when they do it, then they have to produce more to make the earning, because it's the first time earning which they make when they release an album or they write it for the, say, film or whatever. So I said, that it's not that. They shouldn't be producing more just to make, churning out, just to make money. They should be doing it when they feel like, as an artist, that they are something more creative. So it is basically wrong. At the same time, what we don't realize is that the kind of piracy which is going on, I think it must be now, long time back we had worked out, and it was about 60 billion rupees revenue loss to the government. Now it must be bigger loss to the government. So when the loss of revenue to the government is lost to us, because we are the taxpayers and we have to, government has to then put it on us. Look at the film industry. Now there are almost 40 million households in the country. Even if you take 1/4 of it, and you see one movie a month which is pirated, how much loss is being made by the industry and by the the revenue loss, because all that trade is illegal and they don't pay even income tax, so you don't know how to do it. So these are the perspective from the people's angle, that people are hoodwinked. In counterfeit, I have seen, he just mentioned CalPol. In early 80s, I had written an article on IPR, and in that, while I was looking at things, CalPol, it used to be produced by Welcome at that point. Now there is if you have seen the box, a lady is holding a child in her lap. So what the people who counterfeited it, they just reverse the film. So from the right hand, it goes to the left hand. And instead of writing CalPol with C, they were writing it with K. An ordinary person would not make out that this is not genuine. That way, they were playing with the lives of children, because they were not providing them the right thing, and they were just doing it. So it's basically the people's issue. The rights of the people have to be protected, that they are not hoodwinked by the people and the cheats. Actually, they are the cheats. All these people who make these copies, I remember there was a ad in Bangkok I saw. A person is wearing all designer things, and those are all fake designer. And then they said, you are a thief because you are wearing it. So that's the people's perspective. You revenue loss, people's ability to create new things, innovation, and all that. If one person creates and everybody uses it, that's the thing where it is wrong to think that copyright is or any other IPR violation is in the interest of the people, as people want to project that, it's taking from the multinationals and presenting it to the people. Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you. Ed, you're very right. As you mentioned, welcome. I was in welcome for many, many years. And it takes around 15 to 20 years for after a research, R&D. One molecule, one product comes out after 20 years of research. And people copy it. Anyway, so I would come to Amir Saab. Amir Saab, what has been your experience, because you have been a great multinational organization, and I think you are company secretary as well as legal advisor and director legal affairs.
Thank you very much. Bismillah, assalamu alaikum. I see a lot of youngsters here, and especially overwhelmed by the girls and women who are interested in this subject more than men. We have been seeing a video which has gone viral these days where women are fighting and trying to reach to a certain point. Anyone knows about that video? What was that about? Yeah, that the famous lawn and discount sales by designers and all this stuff. These videos have gone viral quite a bit on the internet. So why these women are fighting and try to reach to the point where they can get it first and get out? Even a place like Expo Center, where you can accommodate like thousands of people at a time, the sale is a loot sale. It looks like a loot sale, although the dresses are very expensive, and within 4 hours it's all over. All the main designs and new clothes and whatever you call women's designer clothes have been sold. Why? आपने बताया ना कि you have seen that video. Why? Sorry?
You feel special to have it, to have something very exclusive,
Brand.
which caters, to
okay.
a special niche market.
So what is the rush within those 4 hours to get it?
If
Yes, ma'am.
only
I think it's the originality of the product
Originality of the product.
that attracts.
And then you women just take this, go to a tailoring shop, get it done the same evening, wear it the same night for a dinner, and with another 3 years days, with the passage of another 3 days, it will be copied and their household maid would be wearing it.
True.
You see, it takes only 3 days maximum for the same print, for that design to be copied and produced in the market at like maybe, that is a cheap solution with cheap clothing, cheap prints and cheap work done, but whatever. So what about the creator? How many of these young girls want to be designers, graphic designers? And if you work like these designers, these graphic designers for the garments, they work like they burn their night lamp, they work for hours and days and produce a design. And how would you feel if it is copied within 48 hours? Have your provisions been answered? Have you been rewarded for that? You think that this design will go on for at least 2 months and you will be making some money after hard work. So this is actually not about cheap things. It's not about the Robin Hood cause as Mr. Babar Ayaz said. It is about copying and cheating. So this whole issue is about copying someone's talent and then discouraging. Why most of our computer programmers have gone abroad? Why there has been a brain drain? If the first virus could be produced in Lahore, then why don't we have programmers? Because you produce a program, it is copied like anything, and you don't get a reward. The first time he sells a program for maybe 200,000 rupees, but then within few days it is copied.
I think Babar Saab was telling us in the context of books. For example, if I buy a book of Anthony Robbins, Reawakening of the Giant, with 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, I'll buy it 100 rupee from Indian publishers with a newsprint. So, as a layperson, as a poor man, I will go for 100 rupees rather than for 2,000 rupees. I think that was the context you were referring to, Robin Hood approach.
Yeah.
Right, sir?
So that is
Yeah.
the same Robin Hood approach for clothes and everything. You buy
No,
cheap.
not at
Yeah.
all. Not for that.
Sheila Pinjani from Aga Khan University. There is an issue behind that. It's the whole mindset that we probably have lost our values, and I see a bigger issue behind that. That I need to get this at any cost. Why it has prevailed in society? We need to think about that. Coming to books. It's one has a desire to enhance their knowledge, so there should be some legality around that, and then how the books are produced and how it can reach to all people. But coming to designs, it has something much more to it.
Can I answer that? Because I was myself a student once and the books were expensive. And even photocopying books was expensive. But what we have done is we have destroyed libraries and places where we could go, we could get reference books. I myself used to study at Liaquat Library, an excellent library. It was there. I have prepared for some professional exams over there. The library in Karachi University was wonderful. And in those days, photocopying was very expensive. And we did not need to photocopy things. Then there was a bazaar for the second-hand books. If you have got an original book, there were resellers, you would go and we'll buy a second-hand book for 1/3 the price. I think that kind of system has eroded in the society where there are no libraries, where there's no option of buying second-hand books. So it has become a mindset to just get it copied, photocopied at any time. But now most of the information is available on internet, and some of the old books are available. I know the new editions will always be available at Amazon and those websites, and you cannot buy them. They are quite expensive. But I think we cannot punish an author or punish a person who has written a scientific discourse or something, and that is why what has happened, our book industry has really gone down. Who's writing books in Pakistan now? Are there any books? When you go for textbooks, are there any quality textbooks for medicine, for engineering, for higher humanities, even for commerce, accounting and others? You need to rely on books produced by foreigners because there is no incentive to write here. Your only books are 5 years solved papers and that's it. 5 years solved papers.
Ji Amina Sahib would like to add something in it?
Ji, thank you. But actually, I agree with Amir because I think patent, copyright, and all this trademark. This is, of course, it's for books, it's for music, it's for films, but it applies to designs of clothes, any kind of designing that you use. I think even designs of fabrics, materials. But I want to talk about myths. I think the issue of IPR is surrounded by myths. And I would like to use this occasion to explode some of those myths. And I think one of them is that piracy helps the poor, and that it is intellectual property rights should not be enforced in a third world country like Pakistan. And also that it's only foreign writers or foreign designers who are affected by piracy in Pakistan. Now that is not the case. Piracy does not help the poor. What happens is, I'll talk about books because that's what I deal with. In the case of books, for example, suppose you publish a book for 100 rupees and it gets pirated. The end user who will actually come to buy the book will pay 100 rupees. They're not buying the book for less. It is the middleman who gets a big discount, and he gets a big slice of the whole supply chain. And the end user is deceived into, they are cheated. And actually, I know this because they come to us and they say, what's happened to your books? Your standard is going down. Your books are such bad quality. And when I look at them, I find that they are pirated. So actually, the end user is not only cheated, but the publisher's branding is affected. Because our reputation is affected. People feel that that's a genuine book. So it's a myth that pirates make books cheaper. And these are not only foreign books. Of course, there are foreign books also. But they are local books. Our local authors are pirated. As you know, Mushtaq Ahmad Yusri Saab, his books are pirated. And why did he had to work in a bank? He was the president of UBL. He worked in National Bank. When he was such a gifted writer of satire, and we could have had such a rich treasure of his writings, but he was working full time because his books were pirated. I remember there was a raid that was carried out in the Urdu Bazaar in Lahore, and a mountain of books by Yusri Saab was seized, and these were all pirated. So he lost his royalties. Faiz Ahmad Faiz had suffered. Faiz Ahmad Faiz also had to work 9 to 5 jobs because he could not live on royalties. Qurratul Ain Haider said that she lost lakhs and lakhs of royalties because her books were pirated in Pakistan. And there's also the myth that piracy makes books cheaper. Another way to, you see, like anything else, books are, they benefit from economy of scale. If you print 1,000 books, the price will be higher. If you print 10,000 books, the price will come down. Now, because of piracy, the market shrinks. And if you can sell 10,000 books, when pirates move in, they actually shrink our market, and therefore our prices go up. And so thus actually piracy leads to higher prices of books. And it has nothing to do with the prices of books. The textbook boards, their books are priced at around 100 rupees. They are the biggest victims of piracy. So Pakistani writers, Pakistani publishers, they are the ones who are affected.
Right.
May I add something?
Please.
You see, the point she made, there is a lady, J.K. Rowling. She was a pauper. She started writing Harry Potter series, and I don't know now, it must have been bigger amount, but in the first 3-4 years, she was worth over 500 million pounds. So, can you tell me any writer in Pakistan who would go to that level? No, because not even half. And the books, because of this piracy, sometimes people are very afraid. I was talking to my publisher, and that book is not available in Bangladesh because one of my friends asked for it. He said they can buy from Amazon. I said, but it should be available in the bookshop. He said Bangladesh is a very big market for piracy, and my West Bengal area would be affected because books will start coming from there. So it's basically, as Amina explained, it's a matter of economies of scale. If you buy the genuine book, you are contributing to basically the writer, you are contributing to the publisher who paid their taxes. The other people don't pay taxes because that's all the black market where it exists. And in the same way, there are other things. I just saw a very eminent TV plays producer, Mr. Sami here. And, when they produce a play, and within no time, their CDs are available in the market, I don't think they get any royalty, get anything. Everything is gone. So they suffer. And as a result, they have to keep on producing. And when you produce too much, you lose quality. At the same time, the people who are working, they pay less to the people who work in the place. And it's a whole cycle. So actually, when I was mentioning the Robin Hood mentality, the lady here also mentioned, the thing is that people think that it is taking from the rich and giving to poor. It's not that. And at the end of the day, it's the poor who is being deceived and getting the wrong thing. And particularly, as it's been mentioned, look at the medicines where there is so much counterfeiting, and I've written a lot about it, and I know I've visited those places, where you would not even like to eat something if that cooks over there. And they were making tablets. And even the Lipton tea, in my younger days when I went to one of the places, they were making it. And I tried to act as a, buyer. And for that day, I particularly had worn salwar kameez and all that. But somehow those people were smarter than me. They guessed it. And they locked me in the room. That you are not a buyer, you are somebody else. And I saved myself by just bluffing them. So, this is the kind of the tea which you used to get as a Lipton tea. They would, to add color, they would buy the blood from this place, the slaughterhouses, and then mix it with that, and you're getting unhygienic thing. So there's a lot of it in that, which you find in these things. And the tablets of paracetamol, the counterfeit, would not dissolve for more than 2 hours, although it should be dissolved in water within half an hour or less than half an hour. So what it does to your body, I don't know. So these are the things which are very important. And from a people's perspective, revenue, we know we all hate the government take taxes, but government has to get taxes from somewhere. And their taxes are evaded. And when taxes are evaded, government borrows. When the government borrows from the banks, the inflation is created. And who is affected? Everybody in Pakistan. So people don't realize that. That they think it is good. This is the common man which is affected most by the inflation. Because the government, when it borrows from the banks, it creates inflation. And inflation, affects everybody. It's a very cruel tax actually. Because it is across the board, everybody is affected. So this kind of a tendency, okay, we don't pay taxes, oh wow, maza aa gaya yaar. This is wrong because it's affecting common man.
Ji Babar sir, thank you very much. I absolutely agree with you as far as pharmaceuticals are concerned. It's really fatal. And above all, the people who are making these medicines, fake medicines, they make them in the name of, for example, as you mentioned, Calpol, and they run away. While the welcome Pakistan or Burroughs welcome in those days, they're always in the court defending. Because they are the person, it is a big multinational organization, they are in the court defending themselves that no, we haven't done this, somebody else is. And the somebody is out in the dark. So this is a great problem both in pharmaceuticals and also as far as the books are concerned. And that is why there are two reasons why I don't write books. Number one, the copyright problem. That's why I don't write books. And the second reason is I don't know how to write. There is a lady who is a novelist. Somebody asked her, how do you write such great novels? And because you're a manager in a great company, you don't have time. So when do you do it? She said, when people put me on hold on telephone, I take a paper, I scribble a few things, and that's my novel. Time management. Okay, we'll move on to again Amir Saab, and I think he has a lot of material in the store because he's coming from a Lever Brothers giant, one of the giants in the world. I think you have much to tell. Over to you, sir.
Okay, so that is a dwarf from a giant. So one issue has been awareness. I'll give you an example what kind of awareness prevails. Once there was a raid by police on a big warehouse in the Karachi wholesale market. And there were all sorts of products from foods to shampoos to hair colors to skin creams and all Indian brands, Pakistani brands, foreign brands. It was a big warehouse. So I also got a call that a warehouse has been tracked by police. So I went there with a couple of my colleagues to witness what is happening. So then when everything was loaded, the policemen were asking us to get few cartons of those products. So we told them, look, this is all fake. This may not be hygienic. This may even be injurious to skin. So this is not the right thing to take. So they said, छोड़े सर क्या होता है बीवी को क्या पता, we'll give them a gift. So even they were told about the hazards involved, those policemen were not bothered. They said, नहीं सर कोई बात नहीं, हम घर लेके जाएंगे, बीवी खुश होगी, and we'll give it to our family and friends.
वो भोलपन में नहीं, जान के उसने ये की हरकत.
So you see, these were just sipahi type of policemen. So, but you see that is a level of awareness. People don't think like Baba Ryasa was saying tax. Now, no state can run without tax, and one of the failures or the miseries of Pakistan has been the tax issue, and this is one of the tax issues here. Because what do you think a genuine product, how much tax it would include? Let me say you use a simple shampoo, or maybe you use a simple skin care cream. How much tax impact would be there? Any idea? 5%. The tax impact is like 30 to 40%. It ranges between different products from 20 to even a food product where you don't have excise. There is sales tax. Then there are taxes on import. Then there are employee taxes, like you pay workers' welfare, their old age benefits, their social security. So if you add up different sort of taxes, whatever you buy is actually supporting the economy and the poor people. So you may say this is too much, 35, but this is not Pakistan. Everywhere in the world, a state is a failed state if it cannot collect taxes. Even in countries like Saudi Arabia, the situation has come to a point where they are increasing the price of oil, they are putting tax on oil, they are putting tax on consumer goods, and even on income tax, even on incomes. So this is an issue of awareness, and I take you as my ambassador. When you go, you talk to your friends, families about this issue. I'll also recommend a website where we have a lot of material on that. That's the Brands Protection Group. It's an NGO. That is www.acif.org.pk. They'll even find even magazines and literatures on this. So I'll urge you to please go and work as our ambassador. Over to you, sir.
I would suggest before we take questions, thank you very much. I would suggest a few things which I have noted down. Number one, as Amir Sahab said, number one is what to do now. As laymen or as writers, as artists, as producers, what should we do? I think number one is we have to cultivate character building, morals, at every level. That's the main issue of the whole nation. In our children, we have to build character. What is right and what is wrong. And we should implement it on our own selves. If something is wrong, we are not going to buy it. Simple. Number two, read laws and read your rights. We are not aware of our rights. For example, the right of information. India has done a lot in this. Even in Pakistan, we have laws in our provinces. And we have the right to know. Somebody told me yesterday that a woman from village, she went to the Thana and said, I want to know this, about this report, what happened. And I have the right to know. And these are the laws and the acts. And was forced to give that information because she knew it. And most of us don't know what are our rights. Number three is take professional help. whenever you start writing or producing something, take the help of professionals, how to go along with it. And number 4 or 5, do not be discouraged by these people who are trying to copy you or trying to emulate you, because if you have something quality, you will sustain. And the easiest example is Javed Nahari in Karachi, the best Nahari in Karachi. There are 2 ways to dodge him. Number 1, take his Nahari and sell it in different name, or try to produce Nahari similar to him, similar to his Nahari. In both cases, the other person will fail and it will sustain, I tell you. If you're producing something quality, don't be discouraged. So these are 4 points. Now I think we have...
may I add something?
Please,
here?
sir.
Ahmed Nasir talked about the awareness. Once we were doing the program for, creating awareness among the people about IPR laws, and I started discussing it with the lawyers and also some judges. So what I found, even at the very senior level, the High Court judges and all that, and even 1 or 2 Supreme Court judges, they have very little understanding. And again, the mindset is, yaar, गरीब आदमी को फायदा पहुंच रहा है, तुम लोग क्यों कर रहे हो? That was the actual mindset. So it is the judges who have to be. So we did one seminar for the judges, and the judges then started realizing that, how important it is on this subject. But on the lower level, the judges don't realize. I think there are lots of cases where in this country, you are on your own for everything. So instead of government raiding the places and getting the information that where the IPR laws being, the counterfeit or other products are, it is the companies who have to point it out that such and such place there are books, there is such and such place, there is a Lou biscuit, or there is such and such place, there is a Unilever product, and they have to help the government to raid those places. Okay, they have done their job, and then next stage is when it goes to the court, and obviously the case starts from the lower. The police is sympathetic with that Johnny because he will give him the some bribe also. And next stage, when it goes to the judge, he feels that it is a poor man's thing, they are being benefited. Why are you people out there? And as a result, the laws in Pakistan are so weak. The case goes on, and the punishments are very, very, almost very small punishments. So he pays, say, 500,000 rupees and max, and then as a punishment, and next day starts his business again from somewhere else. And this we have seen, as a reporter, because I started writing on this in, I think, early 80s on this issue. And I saw so many times this issue. Then I dealt it as a consultant also to Overseas Investors Chamber. It is really a very big problem, and government can collect a lot of revenue, and people can be saved from buying counterfeit. You buy thinking it's a Lou biscuit and it is something else. It's almost the same name, so same thing, and it is something else.
Thank you, sir. The best thing is KFC, Karachi fried chicken. So simple. Sir, now I think let's take some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Is it on?
Gigi.
My name is Javed Safdar. I am the Senior Vice Chairman of Pakistan Intellectual Property Rights Association, as Amir knows, and Babar Sahib also knows, I think. So does Ms. Amina Sayyed. The seminar that Babar Sahib was talking about was held, we were one of the sponsors, we collaborated with you, and that was many years back, Babar Sahib.
Yeah.
There was some years back.
Yes.
I feel things have improved a bit, not a bit, but quite a bit. Now we have very good judges in the High Court. I don't want to name them, but they are very knowledgeable and they are aware of the IP laws very well, and they have given some excellent judgments on intellectual property, as possibly Amir also knows that. Secondly, talking about laws, Nusrat Saab, I think you all know that there is mention of fair use in the copyright law, and also that there are instances given as to what fair use is. I can remember a couple at the moment, couple of them, like if it is not used for commercial purposes, if you copy something, like students copy the whole textbook, and that's been going on, as Amir said, in his time and in my time also. It's been going on, still going on, I think. There has never been a check on it, and the authors have never taken any action because the books are not available, the originals are not available. If they are available, they are so expensive. And then the copyright law talks about educational purposes. If the copies are made for educational purposes, that amounts to fair use. If Amir Sahib, what is your view on that?
Okay, so as far as the word fair use is concerned, I agree with you, but I do not agree with copying of the whole book. Like, I do teach at IBA, I am a visiting faculty there, and I do refer to authors and extracts from their books, and I give them due credit by, on the slide, I put the name of the author and the book, and then quote from that author like 10 lines, 20 lines, that's it. But that does not give my students the right to copy a book, and I do not, and I discourage them from photocopying books. Like in India, they created a market, and then there are paper books available. I go and these paper books are available.
Much cheaper.
The irony is that in this city of 20 million, which is one of the top 10 cities in the world, you do not have a bookshop, a proper bookshop. Oxford is struggling to put up some bookshops, others are, but the only proper bookshop left is in Islamabad, which is Said Book Bank. The big bookshops in Karachi have eroded away because of this, and then there you find Indian cheap paperbacks. The same book for, let us say, which is like original book is for $50-$60, you find an Indian paper book for 2,000, 3,000 rupees. I have bought those, and I have those with them. So, like I would say, when you were talking of the courts, the Federal Shariat Court has ruled that copying of trademark is un-Islamic. It comes into the domain of mal. My intellectual property is my mal, and nobody has the right to copy it. Is a 1984 judgment from Federal Shariat Court. So it is about morality. Fair use means that you may have to pay something. You cannot just copy it. You have to ask permission. Even the government has to seek permission to issue a paperback. See, so if we extend the concept of fair use to everything, then there is rampant copy, and I tell you, this flood will not spare even the Pakistani writers.
Thank you.
On this fair use for education purpose, in the British Library, where all the people are doing it for educational purpose because they research over there, they don't let you, photocopy more than 10 pages of a book. So you have to say, okay, I want this paragraph, that way somehow it increases, but you can't. Now, previously it was a very, you have to go there, you cannot take it out, obviously. They do it and copy it, and copying it also is something like, I think, 50 cents or something like that. For us, it is a lot. And then this time they allowed that people can take a photograph, but not of the whole book. So I saw some of the people were more steady hand. I couldn't do it. They were taking some, photographs of some pages where they needed the quotation or something from, because it's full of people who are researchers over there. So it's basically, there has to be a limitation to a certain thing.
I think it's debatable. It's open to interpretation. I think it can lead to abuse. And I remember also in my time at Karachi University, and other universities, there used to be a photocopying machine that was kept there for students, for the use of students. So these photocopies were being made on a large scale. It's not happening now because of technology. Now actually pirates are producing 300, 500 copies of books and selling those to students. And they are cheaper than photocopying.
Thank you. Before we take your question, I would like to add something about your judges being very good. I can give you an example. There are two judges, one in the Supreme Court and one is in High Court here. They are my ex-class fellows, and you can understand the quality.
Yeah, I think he wants to say.
Thank you. Please take the question.
Hello, is it working? Ji, my name is Rashid Sami, and as I asked, I'm a producer, television and film producer. And I'm also, I was the senior vice chairman of United Producers Association, which is the registered body of television producers. We have this issue of copyright to a great extent. My question is, like, now the films are being made, now remakes are being made. Recently there is this film called Malik and Malik, which वहाँ पे controversy चल रही है कि whether, you know, who would take the name. Malik is on that Bhariya Foundation वाले साहब जो उन पे, and Malik is about intelligence agencies. So my question is, like, there are many novels that a producer would want to produce, like Aag Ka Darya. Now, where would one go to get the writer, or other novels that one would want to, you know, bring literature into films or television? And obviously we have this issue of copyrights, intellectual rights between ourselves, the producers, and the channels. We have writers, WGA, where we go and register our titles, but where does one go, if anybody could answer me, to get these rights? Aag Ka Darya ho gaya, you know, other novels, Jang Loose, Shaukat Saab is no more there. So is there a process, or how should one go about it? Thank you.
You go to the heirs.
Amina Sahib, the heirs are not here.
Qurratul Ain Haidar's heirs are here in Karachi.
Yeah, they are, but again, key novels, it's just not Aag Ka Darya. There are many novels that one wants to go about and
wherever the heirs are, they can be anywhere in the world. You can apply to them for copyright.
Okay, and then, okay, fine.
Fine. Yeah, please.
Just to give you an idea, we published Ismat Chughtai, and we approached her family, and they were in Bombay, and we got rights from them from Bombay.
Yeah. Next question, please.
I think what Samsab was trying to say was that what his actual question was, when you author a book or a piece of film or a television show, whatever, where do you, once you have gone, as you're publishing this book, you must have gone somewhere to register it with a certain body. Does then that body have the right to give him rights to reproduce it, or to use it, or to reference it? Or is it just directly going to the heirs and just asking them for permissions? For example, if I wrote a book 50 years ago and now I'm no more, was it my duty to get it copyrighted in my own name with a certain government organization or a private organization that then transferred the rights to my heirs, which meant that if you want to use my work 50 years later, you can go to them, or do you go directly to my family and approach it in an informal, out of court meeting where you say that we'll use this for so such and such purpose and for so and so an amount?
I think for copyright, Amir will correct me if I'm wrong, it is life plus 50. So for example, in the case of Aag Ka Darya, Qurratul Ain Haidar died in 2007. So 50 years, the copyright will remain vested in her family.
Right.
So you will have to get it from her family.
Years,
for example, I'll just give a quick example. Manto died in 1954. And in until 2004, the rights remained with his family. If he had, with his daughters, but after 2004, he is out of copyright. So right now, Faiz is in copyright. Iqbal is now out of copyright, Muhammad Iqbal. Now anyone can publish Muhammad Iqbal. But there's a very fine line. if you cannot just take Allama Iqbal's book, a published book, and scan it and print it, because rights to the design, to the composing, to the scanning are with the publisher. You'll have to take his poems, recompose them, re-edit them, proofread them, and then print them. You cannot take it from a book.
Yeah.
You can,
Please.
yeah, please.
What the gentleman was talking about was whether the copyright has to be registered with some government body or not. It is not compulsory to register any copyright with any government body, as you know. Mere publication gives you the right to that work.
Just publish it, I don't have to do anything.
No.
Say this is my work.
No, you don't have to go
No.
to any government body. The Copyright Office is there. It is an option. It is a good option. If you get it registered, it's good for you, because you then become the prima facie owner. You have the certificate in your hand. Which
And you are entitled to get the royalty.
Can I add something to that confusion?
Please do.
A confusion is prevailing because from 1960s to 1990s or 2000 we did not preserve these things properly. These songs, there are controversies who own these rights. Movies, there's one Pakistan Film Producer Association, there's a competing EMI. There's a whole controversy going on because during this 40-50 years we did not preserve them properly. Now you don't know what Noor Jahan had an agreement with Film Producers Association. Those agreements are not available, some of them expired. So there's a big issue going on just because of this lax enforcement and awareness.
It reminds me of one of my friends, Indian friends in Canada. She phoned me and said, there is a great song, Indian song. Did you hear that song? I said, no. And she said, the words are, tu jo nahi hai to kuch bhi nahi hai. Ye maana ki mehfil jama hai, hansi hai. And I was stunned. I said, no, this is a Pakistani song by S.B. John. And this is a very, very old song. No, this is a creation by India. I said, no, then I sent her the copy, the clip of that. So, no, people are doing all over the world. But we have to make them understand this is right and this is wrong. We have 2 minutes to conclude. Babar sir, would you like to?
There's a question there.
One question, please. Last question.
Madam, as far as my understanding is concerned, pirated market has been developed due to price. Local publishers are publishing their books in a very low and cheap prices. Copy markets concept has been developed in student, in education, especially in education purposes. As he said that this is a fair for, especially for education purpose. So why not the Oxford and other Cambridge and others publisher not going to compromise on price?
Well, you know, we do have books that are priced at 100 rupees, 150 rupees. They are also pirated. I don't think this market has been developed because of price. I think it has been developed because people want to make a fast buck without investing. I think, as Babar Saab said, these people are cheats.
Yeah.
And that's why the market has been developed.
She's very right. Amina Saab is very right. All the poetry books, I think, is 135 rupees and with very good quality. And we have the last minute, and I would request Babar Saab to please conclude today's session.
Thank you. Well, I think we have had a good discussion. I would only say that, you see, these myths, as Amina said, need deeper thinking. We don't think, beyond a general perception, which are, generally on a populist line. Populism needs much deeper thinking, because at times, that, okay, we'll get the cheaper thing, we'll do this, but ultimately, it's the people who suffer. As I explained, just if you are buying from somebody something who doesn't pay taxes, who doesn't, is from the black market, do you know that the size of the black market in Pakistan is equivalent 100% of the GDP? So look at the size of the black market in this country. And that flourishes because it has no control. Everybody is doing whatever. As I was mentioning, you go at every third shop is of video and all that, and they are selling things. And look at the people of the cable operators. They run at least 5 to 6 movies which are pirated. The day movie is released in the cinema hall, the next day they are showing it. So this is all like cheating. And it's basically, I don't think that we can reform people's behavior. We have to inform them that ultimately you think it is your benefit, but it isn't. In the long run, it is not a benefit.
Thank you, sir. Basically, we have to sell this idea and understand this. And I think the time is over. Babar Saab, thank you very much. Amina Sahiba, thanks for arranging the whole festival and this event as well. Amir Saab, aapka bahut shukriya. And thank you very much for listening to our intellectual talk. And this session has a copyright as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending this session. Our next session is titled Our History, Our Heritage, Our Responsibility, and the participants shall be Asma Ibrahim and Yasmin Lari. The session will begin at 12:30 p.m.